Are you ready for our heroes in our comics to start wearing masks? No, no, I'm not talking about like their superhero masks. I'm talking about like the COVID face masks. Are you ready? Are you ready for that? Well, sounds like we may get it. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Perch. Somebody pointed me at this, and I neglected doing kind of a commentary on this because I just couldn't figure out how to have it last more than 2 minutes. But I think I have an angle here. So basically, over the last week or so, some comic creators on social media have talked about incorporating the face mask into the comics as a way to kind of show support for everything that's going on, reflect the world outside your window, and so on. And it's interesting. I mean, I admit I've been going, like as you re-enter shops up here in the Washington Pacific Northwest area, a lot of shops have been closed. As you go into them now, there's banners and billboards. Like if you go into Target, Target never closed, but not a lot of people are out there shopping anymore. But if you go in there, there's these big posters, advertising, clothes and juice and underwear and all sorts of things in Target. And there's people in there and they're not wearing face masks, but the world, meanwhile, all the people shopping are wearing face masks. And so the topic has come up, like at some point, does the marketing start to incorporate face masks? Are we going to see like commercials of like the guy driving his Infinity down the road, and then he's having a great driving experience, and he gets out and he puts on his face mask and goes to the park? Like, is that coming? It's weird, right? I think a lot of advertisers are kind of waiting to see. Like it feels like a bunch of them are going, well, should we hop in on this or not? Because this thing goes away, or advertising is going to look really dated and weird. But then again, we also want to be responsive. It's got to be tough times to be in advertising. But at any rate, some comic creators, contemplated, maybe we should have masks in the comics. And unfortunately, the way they got there was one of the sillier ones, which is, we want to show support for the idea of wearing a mask. And I think that that's a goofy idea just in general, because I don't think comic books are the way to do it. I mean, I think in the letter page, you could say wear a mask. You could, hey, why not do Marvel variant covers of superheroes wearing masks? They could call it the mask variant covers. And then you could even kind of promise to give some money to charity for the people who buy the variant covers. You won't do it, of course, but you'll say that you will. I'm sorry, that's too cynical. Um, I, but the other problem is if they start doing this today, then we're going to see people in masks showing up in comics in what, like October, November, and does that whole thing just seem kind of weird, And I mean, on one hand, I'm trying to think: is this a good thing or a bad thing for artists? Like, this is, in some ways, they're going to have to worry a whole lot less about getting those facial expressions and those faces right, because now the face mask, you just kind of have to worry about eyes, and that's about it. Once you get drawing the face mask down, you're good. What would a Huberto Romero's face mask look like? I'm betting weird, really weird. And God, what's Greg Land gonna do? It's like blows like half of his art is the big kind of open mouth orgasm expressions. I don't know what he's gonna do with all this. Feels like a lot of things, a lot of questions to be answered. But the other part to all this is does this make sense? And I've done the commentary before on like why some issues just don't make sense in comic books, even though you really want them to. They don't. I think environmentalism is a huge one. You can't really go on and on about environmentalism in a comic book that has Reed Richards and Moon Girl and Shuri and Wasp and Tony Stark and Hank Pym running around. I mean, there's they could solve these environmental problems. It just doesn't. It's hard to kind of say, hey, we need to care about the environment when you got these like super geniuses who are flying into space who can fix the environment. Just full stop. So with the masks, it's like, somebody's like, well, Carol, Captain Marvel should wear a mask. It's like, but Carol can fly around in space with no mask, like with no helmet or anything. She did. I mean, the, why, like, what? what are we doing with the mask? I mean, is Carol immune to disease? Probably not. I mean, I think there's been comics where she's had a cold. I think I want to remember she's had a cold before, but this idea that she can go into space, but she needs a mask from Walmart, just it's weird. But also, it defeats the purpose of the mask. If you really want to get into it, then it could be that Carol, Captain Marvel, is asymptomatic, but she's running around, coughing on, say, Kamala Khan or Black Widow or like her bestie Jessica Drew. What happens when she goes over to Jessica Drew's house? And Carol, of course, doesn't need to worry about any of this COVID stuff, but she's not wearing a mask, and so she's spraying little water droplets from talking about, I don't know, whatever they do. They watch horror movies and eat popcorn. That's what the IDW comic told us. But anyway, she's like spraying this stuff around. Then poor Jessica Drew is getting sick because she can get a virus. I mean, we saw in like the first issue, she vomited all over the place. So we know that she can get it. I mean, Carol could be spreading this disease. She could be a super spreader, is what could be happening. So we need to put her in that mask. But then this whole thing is very strange. I'm, I guess my comment for you is number one. Do we need masks in the comic books in order to show support for people wearing masks and staying healthy? Does that make any sense? Is that something we need to do? Number two, how do you handle masks in this world? Like it seems kind of weird that the superheroes would be wearing masks. And again, I mean, maybe what Marvel needs to do or DC needs to do is to kind of establish that it's not just that people are smart. Like they kind of like Tony Stark is great at kind of AI or robotics. It kind of varies depending on what kind of story they want to do. Shuri is just like super genius, and Moon Girl is super genius, and like Reed is. But maybe they need to say, hey, the Invincible Wasp here, Nadia Pym. She is a biochemist. She understands viruses and viral diseases, and she's going to be like the smartest one in the world in that. And then Shuri can be the smartest one in the world in, uh, you know, who knows what. Just pick something. I am not the smartest one in the world because I was not able to just come up with another field off the top of my head. I think that might be helpful. Then when you have the virus, then it's like, oh, we better call in Nadia. She'll know what to do. And then you don't like go over to Moon Girl's house and have to deal with any of that, right? So that's just what I'm thinking. But does this make any sense? And also, like, is this a current event that needs to show up in the comics? Or are comics, and I suspect most people have this answer because they've answered it this way before, is comics just good for escapism? Are we really just saying, we'd like to not think about the comics while we're watching Wolverine hook up with Jean Grey? We would like to not think about COVID or any of that kind of stuff. We'd just like them to have some good old maskless hot tub action. That's what we want. We don't want to start like you don't need to bring that world outside. I mean, the world outside the window kind of sucks. So let's not bring that in. Like I keep expecting like somebody at some point will figure out a way to bring K-pop into comics. Like Doctor Doom is doing something really like super, or maybe it's better. Red Skull. The Red Skull is hatching some evil plot, and he's getting ready to make things work. But suddenly, it's like his computer is infected with like a K-pop virus. And he's trying to like send Zola and other people out to do kind of evil deeds, but and whenever he hits like TC, he sends a text instead, like a GIF of a K-pop band goes instead. It's like that's I don't know. I've gone off the rails here. I don't know. Masks and comics. What say you? Leave a comment below. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.